Good day. Well, this ring looks like it might be a bypass band or a shadow band to go with another ring. There are at least 3 ways to mill this ring on the Revo 540C mill. Thank you very much for leaving your ring rail intact. So many of my students, so many of our users seem to think that that is a replaceable throwaway type part. It is not. The only thing that I'm going to do with the ring rail is I'm going to move it to the center of the universe. So I will grab finger rail. I'm only moving it in Y, so it will come up to my utilities in the upper left-hand corner. Come down to center object, and I will only click Y. There we go. We've moved that to the correct place. Now the next thing you want to do is job bag. Having done that, this is a very simple band with a very nice slight comfort fit to it. So we could mill this on the 3-jaw chuck on a tubular piece of wax. Now the mill will sometimes give you your own supports. I like to put in my own supports for those kinds of jobs. Here's what I do. I'll come up to user 01, come up to solids, go to my cylinder, and I'm going to come down in here someplace, turn off all my snaps, and I'll make a cylinder that's just 1 millimeter in diameter and about 4 millimeters long. I'm going to pull that little guy out till he's even flush down here at the 5 millimeter mark. And that gets him so he's not sticking through any of the azures and interrupting the surface of your model. Now we need about 5 or 6 or 7 of those, so my best buddy here is polar array. I come up to transform, polar array, click F4 for the center of my universe. Now it asks me for the number of items. It'll always be 2 unless you've already done this. I'm going to put in, oh what the heck, let's put in 7. Hit the button twice. And there we go. Now you can see that some of these are sticking out too far. They stick into your azures. So the easiest thing to do is to grab all of them and drag them out another 0.5 millimeter. Oh, they didn't move. Hang on, let's do that again. There we go. Now, I always like to make sure anytime I make a change like that that I haven't gone and fouled up any of the existing work. And I haven't. So that's great. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all 7 of them and I'm going to type the word group on the command line and hit my enter key. Now they behave as a single object. They're grouped. Now the reason I did this is so that my mill can cut down in here and yet I'll have something easy to remove later on. So then we would go up to Builder, Revo C, grab the model which is here, throw it in there. The system automatically reads the ring rail size and posts it here. In this case, this is a UK size, so it's K plus 1/2. And we'll come down here, we'll come up and we'll go to User Supports, click that button, and then we'll grab our user supports and put them in there. And it will say Manual Supports Not Recognized. Please manually select the milling setup. And we say OK. It's confused by our choice. We pick here, and we're going to hollow it out. And you'll see it now picks a 22 millimeter tube of wax. When we get to the next page, if you don't have a 22 millimeter tube, but say had a 26, you could pick 26. Just make your change to fit the wax that you have in hand. Click Next. Make sure that you have the Revo Disc 12 millimeter cutter. The default is the 10. If yours is not defaulting to 12 millimeters and you have a new mill, you want to go back to the first page, go to Cutters up here in the upper corner. You're about to enter the cutter library where you can edit cutter definitions. Here it is not possible to determine which cutter you want to use for milling process. Okay, what that's saying is you're building cutters in here, you're not picking cutters. You want to come down to Revo 12 millimeter disc and click default and make sure that's default. Hit set and then you can exit. And now from now on it will always pick your 12 millimeter cutter. If you by chance use the 10 millimeter definition and then cut with the 12 millimeter provided cutter, your model will be 1 millimeter thinner all the way around, and most of the time it'll just fall apart. These are good settings. We'll go forward from here, and we don't need to do anything more. Let me show you what the toolpath looks like. What we will do is we will click on Make Path, and here we have the results. I like to call it Polychrome Glop, or the Polychrome Jungle. Each one of these, all you got to do is click on one line. This is your hollowing with the 12 millimeter cutter, and you can see that from the shape of it, it's going to make that beautiful little comfort fit that you've designed. Then here is your rotary on the outside. Now, one of the things you want to look at is because we're doing a rotary from the outside, the 5mm or the 5-degree taper on your cutter is going to come into play, and the bottom of your azures, the bottoms of your bezels are not going to be as wide as you'd like. There are ways around that. That is the easiest way would be to add a flat milling, but this is generally going to be acceptable for your use. And as you can see, it's going to mill around each of these 7 pegs I put on here, so it's going to be very easy to remove this model when you're done. That's option number 1. Let's click exit. Let's grab these and we'll just hide them. Here's the same ring. Here we do absolutely nothing to the ring. We go to the Revo C Builder, grab the ring, throw it in there. Again, it reads the ring rail. And this time, we're going to mill it in the dual fixture. Now you'll see that this support is a little bit off center, not a problem. In the dual fixture, we're going to have to mill it on the 3-pin mandrel, the hub fixture afterwards, to get a good model. And so it picks a 5mm piece of wax. So we move on forward. Again, if you don't have a 5mm wax, you could pick a 10. That's fine. Two-sided, you only have one choice here. We go forward. Now here's what we're going to do. The hub has to be thinner than the wax. So we're working with a 5mm wax. You have to have a 4.5mm hub. 3 supports on the inside of this type of model is going to be perfectly adequate. Grab that, throw that in there. Go next. Again, we're only working with the 10-degree cutter, and I'm going to make the tool paths the same way, and we'll take a look at those. Now I've got a little bit more polychrome going on here. So we'll take a look at this. Again, once it's done saying toolpath has been created, you can click on each individual step and see it. Here's where we're going to drill out the supports for the hub. Now I'm going to double click on this and open it up into subpart 1, which is the back side or the front side, depending on how you want to look at it. And you can see it's going to follow the shape of your ring very nicely. Blow that up. Here's subpart 2, the back side. Again, they reach through the center. Does a nice job of cutting your ring. Now your ring's going to have a little uphill taper, 2-sided taper, like a little roof on it, because that's the way that it's going to cut. So here's where we cut out the hub vernier at the bottom. Here's where we put the tick marks on it. And here's where we finish going all the way back around. And this will cut off everything. Now, there's a trick here. See how it's coming out here off the side of your ring quite a little distance. If you want to save a little bit of time, double click on rotary on center hub. Come down here to where it says border distance, click on that and change it down to, say, 1mm or even 0.5 mm. It won't go quite as far off in the sides. It'll still give you the finished ring, save you a couple of minutes at most, maybe 5 total on a ring like this. But that's how you do it as a dual fixture plus the hub. We'll exit out. We'll take another look at this same ring. A third option. This is going to waste a lot of wax, but it's a way to do it if you have to. Here's our model. Again, it reads our ring rail. We're going to come down here and we're going to do it on the base fixture. Again, on the base fixture, to get this thing milled out really nicely, we better put a hub in it. And like I said, there's your smallest piece of wax at 39 by 39 by 20. You're going to mill away a lot of wax to get that one piece out of it, but that's an option that's available. Now, because this is a very simple flat band, I would not option for 8-side cut. I go with 4 sides plus top. We go next. We've got to make a hub just like we did last time. Put that in there. Come up here. Now, interesting thing about this, you don't really need to do the top cuts. So let me do this. Let me run the tool paths and we'll talk about it. Now we've got some real polychrome going on here. Let's take a look at this. This is our cutout edge curve. This is going to take away all the excess wax off the outside of the piece. Here is the base clamp. This is where we're going to mill the hub. Here's flat on base clamp. There's only one side to this. That's down from the top. Now, I said this is an extraneous cut. It really is, and it can be thrown away. We can just completely delete it out of the system if we wanted to, because these 4 cuts, back, front, left, and right, however you want to call them, are going to cut out the exact same model, and there's no reason to cut down from the top. So if you throw away by highlighting and then hitting delete, you throw away that step, you're going to save yourself 20 minutes. Time is money. Here's where we cut the calibration block for aligning it, and here's where rotary does it around the outside. Now this is the longest, slowest way to do this job. So the only reason I would pick to do this particular style of job with a base clamp wax is if I had nothing else in the shop that would work.